For thousands of years, the story of Sodom has served as humanity's ultimate cautionary tale of sudden, fiery divine retribution. But beneath the theology lies a physical footprint. In the Jordan Valley, around 1650 BCE, a sprawling city-state known today as el-Hammam stood as the largest continuously occupied urban center in the Levant. It was a prosperous metropolis, boasting a massive mud brick rampart and multi-story palace complex that dwarfed neighboring cities like ancient Jerusalem and Jericho. Then, at the absolute height of its regional power, this massive civilization and all its surrounding satellite settlements simply vanished from the map. When an urban center of this magnitude is wiped out overnight without a trace of rebuilding, the ancient myth of fire and brimstone becomes a tangible archaeological mystery. Archaeologists excavating the ruins of el-Hammam did not find the standard markers of a fallen Bronze Age kingdom. There were no scattered arrowheads, no abandoned siege weapons, and no indications that an invading army had breached the walls. Instead, they had a chaotic 1.5-meter thick band of dark ash and debris capping the entire site. Extensive geologic surveys quickly confirmed that this destruction layer was not the result of a tectonic earthquake. Inside this dark stratum, the city's massive defensive walls were completely missing, with millions of heavy mud bricks pulverized into dust. Mixed into this churned matrix were human skeletons that had been violently fragmented and completely disarticulated. Obliterating fortifications and shattering human remains on this scale requires a kinetic force entirely outside the technological capacity of the ancient world. To understand the weapon that struck the city, we have to look at the temperature of the ash. In the Middle Bronze Age, the absolute hottest fire a human could engineer was roughly 1,100 degrees Celsius, which was used strictly to smelt copper. Yet, scattered throughout the destruction layer, researchers found everyday pottery and building clay coated in bubbles of melt glass. Under an electron microscope, this glass contained grains of melted quartz and zircon crystals that had physically boiled. Transforming these specific minerals requires transient heat spikes exceeding 1,700 degrees Celsius. Deeper analysis revealed microscopic nuggets of iridium and platinum embedded in the soil. These rare metals remain solid until they are exposed to temperatures nearing 2,500 degrees. The only force on Earth known to generate this specific suite of instantaneous multi-thousand-degree thermal effects is a modern nuclear detonation. Faced with these impossible temperatures, astrophysicists analyzed the soil data and concluded that a 75-meter-wide space rock, either a comet or an asteroid, entered the atmosphere over the Jordan Valley at hypersonic speeds. Extreme friction caused the incoming bolide to detonate miles above ground. This Type 2 touchdown airburst transferred immense energy without leaving an impact crater. A blinding thermal pulse instantly melted mud brick and incinerated exposed organic matter. Milliseconds later, a supersonic physical shockwave slammed into the metropolis. The excavation trenches perfectly mirror this exact blast model. Thousands of shattered potsherds, charred grains, and heavy architectural debris were found suspended in the dirt, all blown in a precise southwest to northeast dispersal pattern. A cosmic airburst yielding between 12 and 23 megatons of energy flawlessly accounts for both the impossible temperatures and the shared architectural foundations buried in the valley. Curious, this cosmic forensic model also sheds light on the strangest detail from the Genesis account: the biblical legend of Lot's wife looking back at the sudden destruction and being transformed into a pillar of salt. Soil chemistry within the destruction matrix revealed a massive anomaly. The sediment and human bones are heavily enriched with salt, averaging 4% by weight, with localized pockets spiking to an astonishing 54%. The airburst detonated near the northern tip of the Dead Sea. The multi-megaton blast instantly vaporized millions of gallons of hypersaline water, alongside incredibly thick layers of exposed sedimentary salt. The supersonic blast wave then shotgunned this boiling brine across the plain, encrusting the pulverized rubble of the city and the remains of its inhabitants in melted salt. The physical evidence removes the theology from the text, revealing a literal and truly horrifying environmental mechanism behind the ancient myth. The immediate aftermath was total agricultural collapse. This toxic, hypersaline fallout completely sterilized the once fertile soils of the Jordan Valley, making crop germination impossible. Without the ability to farm, the entire lower valley had to be abandoned. It took roughly 6 centuries for seasonal rains to wash enough salt from the earth for human populations to return. Traumatized survivors carried the memory of the blast with them. Over hundreds of years, their oral accounts of a localized extinction event gradually morphed into the theological narratives of divine retribution we read today. The story of Sodom stands as a millennia-old warning for humanity, a surviving eyewitness account of a cosmic threat.